What's up, everybody, and welcome to Post Hype. Now, things are getting messy behind the scenes at DC Studios. It seems like the studio itself is in a state of utter chaos, and as the new regime takes over and James Gunn settles into his seat as creative director, there might be more changes happening than fans were initially led to believe. Over the last few days, we not only received word that Wonder Woman 3 is seemingly dead in the water, but that Henry Cavill returning as Superman is also in the air. Now, what does that mean for the future of Black Adam? Well, that we're going to discuss in today's video. If you guys enjoy these, make sure to smash that like button, but let's not waste another second and jump right into this article here by The Hollywood Reporter. Now, the article is titled Patty Jenkins' Wonder Woman 3 Not Moving Forward as DC Movies Hit Turning Point. If we go a little bit deeper into the article, it does go on to say, multiple sources tell The Hollywood Reporter that Patty Jenkins' Wonder Woman 3 is not moving forward and is considered dead in its current incarnation. Sources say that Jenkins recently submitted her treatment, co-written with Jeff Johns, and that Gunn and Safran, as well as Warner Bros. Pictures co-chairs and co-CEOs Michael DeLuca and Pamela Abdy, broke the news to the filmmaker, telling her the project as it stood did not fit in with the new but still unfolding plans. Now, that's a little bit odd to me because, I mean, Wonder Woman is pretty much a DC classic at this point. It might be one of the best films they released in the last 10 years. I mean, besides like the Christopher Nolan Batman films, and it did put our very first woman in her own solo superhero movie. So now that by itself, I feel like warrants the series getting a little bit more credit than it is seemingly getting here. However, there's been new information released recently that goes to show that it might not actually be the way you initially thought it was. Now, this is from TheWrap.com, and it is titled, Warner Bros. Didn't cancel Wonder Woman 3. Patty Jenkins walked off the project. Now, this is just breaking news right here, and it totally changes the perspective of what happened actually behind the scenes. The article goes on to say, Hollywood was stunned by the news this week that Warner Bros. Discovery would not move forward with Wonder Woman 3. But in fact, it was Patty Jenkins, who directed the first two films in the superhero series, who walked off the project after rejecting studio notes on her treatment. According to one insider, Jenkins refused and let DeLuca and Abdy know that they were wrong and they didn't understand her, didn't understand the character, didn't understand character arcs, and didn't understand what Jenkins was trying to do. To underscore her point, according to the first insider, Jenkins sent an email to DeLuca that ended with a link to the Wikipedia definition of character arc. Now, that is just absolutely insane. I mean, as somebody who's a part of a big project like this, there's gonna be a lot of people making and voicing their opinions, and obviously you might not want to listen to every single one, but in order to get these $500 million, $200 million movies made, you've got to listen to the execs sometimes, and the fact that they would act this way is just absolutely insane. I mean, I don't know Jenkins personally, and I've never seen anything saying that she's acted like this way before. However, this just seems absolutely embarrassing and kind of pathetic in my opinion. I mean, to act this way towards not only your bosses, but to people you're working with and other humans, it's just absolutely weird to me. I mean, and the fact that it initially was released that like the CEO was going to be the one canning it because they didn't like the vision, but then it turned out that the director just didn't want to take any criticism or scrutiny on the treatment that they were making. That's a little bit weird to me, and it really puts things in a different perspective. It also goes on to say that they didn't even want to hear what James Gunn and Safran had to say as well, being that they're going to be taking over as creative directors. So that's super weird. I hope that this isn't going to be the end of Wonder Woman. And what's even a little bit more odd is that Gal Gadot actually went on to tweet a few years ago. It was announced that I was going to play Wonder Woman. I've been so grateful for the opportunity to play such an incredible, iconic character. And more than anything, I'm grateful for you, the fans. Can't wait to share her next chapter with you. Now, this tweet was released on December 6th, and that initial article saying that Wonder Woman was going to be canned came out on December 7th. So the timing of all this is super weird, and this is also going to be a trend that we're going to see where the actors and actresses playing these parts as the DC superheroes are really voicing how excited they are to come back, but then we're receiving information that the studio is canceling their projects. So whether that means that the specific projects, like in the Jenkins situation, is just canned and not the actors themselves are getting thrown to the wayside, that's something we're gonna have to see as future information comes out. Let us know what you guys think about this in the comments below. Do you think it's super weird that Jenkins would kind of just storm off in this way due to some criticism on her script, or do you think it's warranted seeing that the changes that are happening behind the scenes are pretty monumental. We'd love to hear your guys' thoughts. Now, to go on a little bit further and back to the initial article, it does say, the Cavill situation is more than a little thorny as the actor made a cameo in Black Adam, the DC-centric movie released in October. The Monday after the movie opened, Cavill posted a video on Instagram where he announced, "I wanted to make it official, I am back as Superman." Now we'll go ahead and play that clip right now.
Hey everyone, I wanted to wait until the weekend was over before posting this because I wanted to give you all a chance to watch Black Adam. But now that plenty of you have, I wanted to make it official that I am back as Superman. And the image you see on this post and what you saw in Black Adam are just a very small taste of things to come. So there's a lot to be thankful for, and I'll get to that in time. But I want to thank you guys most of all. Thank you for your support and thank you for your patience. I promise it will be rewarded.
Now, it's super odd to me, just like in the Gal Gadot situation, that Henry Cavill would come out to his fans announcing that he is going to come back as Superman, and then not only a few weeks later, we're getting word that that's not true, that's not happening. What is happening behind the scenes at DC Studios and what is true and what is not? It's kind of hard to piece together, but we're gonna get a little bit deeper because there was actually some James Gunn tweets recently that kind of put things a little bit more into perspective. So it does go on to say here, the new co-chair and co-CEO of DC Studios took to Twitter on Saturday to commemorate the 44th anniversary of Richard Donner's Superman. Superman premiered 44 years ago today, Gunn tweeted, adding heart and star emojis. Gunn also shared the film's original poster featuring the tagline, "You'll believe a man can fly." When asked whether Superman would be coming back to the big screen, Gunn responded, "Yes, of course, Superman is a huge priority, if not the biggest priority." But Gunn also responded on a different Twitter thread to a fan who tweeted that Gunn does not like Henry Cavill. When asked to comment on the claim about his feelings toward Cavill, Gunn wrote, "Sure. False." Now, this is absolutely hilarious to me. I mean, James Gunn's Twitter presence is just next to none. I mean, this man is just either trolling people or just shitting on them entirely. Now, the weirdest part of this is that the Den of Nerds seemingly dug their feet into the ground and doubled down on this take, being that he had sources, quote unquote, saying that this was false information from James Gunn and that he's lying. So he goes on to say in a tweet, "Even more people have reached out to me since you said this to tell me you really don't like him. Just saying what I heard." So then James Gunn goes to reply, "So weird. You seem so plugged in. Anyway, I just had 40 people reach out to me to say you just got kicked out of your mom's basement. So sorry, man." Now that is just absolutely diabolical, and I mean, maybe a little bit uncalled for seeing that James Gunn is in the position he's in now, but that's what Twitter's for, my man. If you're not going to have these personal interactions, then what are you even on social media for? I do like this from James Gunn, and I don't know what to believe, however. I mean, maybe the Den of Nerds does have accurate sources and James Gunn is just kind of like saving face in the public eye. However, James Gunn kind of has a track record of being a pretty straight up guy, so I'd like to say that he's being truthful in this situation. However, it's hard to tell. Now, we do get more information from the Hollywood Reporter article that kind of does side with James Gunn, and it goes on to say, at the time, he was not correct, being Henry Cavill. Warner Bros. Was indeed developing a sequel for 2013's Man of Steel and actively meeting with writers. Andy Muschietti, who directed Flash, even expressed interest in sitting behind the camera for something that would have brought a similar tone to the hopeful and heroic colors of the 1978 movie directed by Richard Donner, considered a benchmark in comic book movies. Now, that's interesting coming from the Flash's director because we just saw James Gunn tweet and honor that exact Richard Donner Superman movie. So if I had to connect the dots, and with James Gunn saying that Superman is a huge priority for him, I'd say it's very likely that we will get this Superman film that we're waiting for. However, whether Henry Cavill is going to be the mantle, that I think is still in the air. And I think what makes that even more uncertain is if we look a little bit further into the article, it does go on to say Cavill shot part of his cameo for the Flash movie in September. But sources say there is a debate inside the studio as whether or not to keep the cameo and if its inclusion promises something that the studio would have no plans on delivering. So that leads me to believe, even though James Gunn might not hate Henry Cavill like the tweet suggests, he's not planning on him coming back as Superman in these movies. movies. I think what even further cements that is that it's also unlikely to see a sequel for Black Adam. Despite the hype surrounding the movie of launching a new corner of DC, a lot of it led by star Dwayne Johnson, the movie has only grossed $385 million worldwide. I love when they put only in front of that number, like 385, but in the perspective, it is only. So, and insiders at the studio say the movie, which cost more than $190 million to produce, two sources even peg the cost at $230 million, not including marketing, which is usually another $100 million on top of that. That would be $330 million. Will be lucky to break even considering ancillary revenue. If the movie does eke out a minimal profit, any follow-ups' inherent rising costs dim the prospect of a sequel. Now, Johnson hoped to carve out his own piece of the DC pie, but multiple sources say his playing up of a returning Cavill and his own involvement with DC may not be endearing him to the new management. Johnson and Cavill are both managed by Danny Garcia, who is also Johnson's producing partner. The perception of Adam turning a profit or not is a conflagration now being waged in the public, with Johnson tweeting the movie would net over $50 million after a Variety story said the movie would lose over $50 million. Now, this is why I think the Black Adam situation is maybe causing more of a mess behind the scenes than we think, because Black Adam's involvement with Henry Cavill could have directly taken that role away from him, because what if the future plans of DC that could have involved Henry Cavill in his new Superman movie aren't involving Dwayne Johnson and Black Adam? That's where I think things get a little messy, and obviously he got him to do that cameo because of Danny Garcia. They share the same management, and all of that kind of like relationship thing going on behind the scenes, I think may have ruined this for Henry Cavill and maybe put a bad taste in James Gunn and Adam Safran's mouth. So I think it's just really crazy what's going on behind the scenes now. It's a lot of he say, she say. News is coming out one day, and then 2 days later we're getting news that it's not exactly what we thought, as looking at the Patty Jenkins situation. I mean, it came out looking like the studio was canceling Wonder Woman, but then Patty Jenkins canceled it herself because she wasn't open to criticism. We see Gal Gadot and Henry Cavill coming out and saying that they love playing these characters and they're excited to take them on within the next chapter of DC. And then kind of James Gunn coming out and say, maybe not. We don't know exactly where we're headed right now, and the course correction might be in a different direction than having these two take on the lead roles. That is super interesting to me, and I'm super excited to see where the future of DC is going. I think they did need this kind of major overhaul, because right now the DC EU as it stood was just like dead in the water, and the DCU actually might have a promising future. You guys let us know down in the comments below, what do you think's really going on behind the scenes? Do you think it's way messier than it's leading on to believe, or do you think maybe it's as simple as James Gunn has a specific vision that he wants to see out and that's all it is? We'd love to hear your guys' feedback in the comments below, but that's where I'm going to wrap this one up here, guys. Thank you for watching these videos. As always, I'm your host MJ with Post Hype. If you liked the video, make sure to smash that like button, and if you didn't, make sure to let us know where we can improve. We're always open to your feedback and suggestions. That being said, I hope you guys all have a great rest of your day. We'll see you around next time. Peace out.